Hey, what's up, everybody? Sean here at Fusion Elite Trading. And Saturday, I was going over some charts, doing some trade reviews, chart reviews, and I wanted to go over this QCLS trade that I took yesterday. I think it's just a good lesson. And, I've talked about these day three gappers before, and this was another one. So I wanted to jump on and give you a little bit more in depth look at it and what I was thinking. All right, so QCLS had a really nice run Wednesday, Thursday, some multiple gappers. Then we come in Friday, and it was gapping up above 9 and above this big pivot. So I was like, all right, day three, big gap. I want to get short somewhere on this. And I want to point out this made 177% run from start to finish. In a day three gap terms, that's not a huge run in small caps. Oftentimes you can see these at 500% or more, which sets up even better. But this is still a good setup, something to be involved with, even if it was only 177% run. One thing I want to point out before I jump into the intraday price action is one of the first things I do when pulling up these penny stocks is I look at the daily. I'll go back in time and see how they normally trade. And you can see a lot of them will have charts like this, just highly dilutive. All of these pops getting sold just repeatedly. This is clearly just a dilutive stock. They put out news, they sell it, they dilute the shares, and so that just adds to my thesis for a short. It makes me like it even more. So I have a day three gapper, a known pop and drop name, starting to line. A lot of things are starting to line up in my favor. All right, so I came in Friday morning. It was gapping higher, was trading above 9. I want to point out in the post-market action here, we had a really clean level that I was trading against, and then we get the 7 a.m. open, or the prints come in, and we get a big push, pushes through this level, and then pushes above that 894 level, and then ultimately fails sharply. Okay, and this is what I was talking about in the other video I posted about trader positioning. You get a lot of longs chasing this, and you're getting shorts squeezed out, and then you get a big rejection. So now all the longs are off sides, shorts are out, they're wanting to get back in, and longs are bailing. So now you have all this selling pressure. That's why you're getting this sharp move here. All right, this would have been this was the best entry. Obviously in hindsight, I wasn't at my desk when this happened. Otherwise, you could have been taking this right here on this turn as it was coming in below. Let me put VWAP up. As it was breaking down below that turn, and then you could have looked to add as it was consolidating below VWAP and then breaking through this level here that it put in the post and pre-market. When I came on my desk, it was consolidating under that area. So what I did was I put a position on as I saw it kept rejecting this area. And then what I did was I put orders out. I layered them out around VWAP and higher, I think up to like 860, 870 around this area. Just in case we got to pop up through it. What I was thinking is, given that how big of a run we've had and then how sharp of a rejection this was, I thought that the probabilities of this breaking pre-market highs were pretty low at that point. So if we did get a pop, I felt comfortable adding to my position while using this pre-market high as my ultimate stop in case it did want to go further. What ended up happening was we just got a lot of weakness coming into the open, so I decided to take profit as it was moving in my favor. I left my orders out coming into the open in case we did get a big pop that I could get more shares into my position, and it just remained weak throughout the morning, so I took off most of my position as it moved in my favor. And then we got this pop up here. A lot of the times, once a stock's put in a top and is weak, these bounces back into VWAP or shortable. And I added some into here and we popped back up, and I had canceled my other orders at this time because I had taken a bunch off already and I wanted to see how it was going to trade. We started holding above VWAP, and I was thinking, it's Friday, I'm up good on the trade. We've had huge runners this week in small caps with like SMX and a couple other names. I didn't want to overdo it. I just wanted to end the week on a high note. I made some good money on this, and I didn't want to keep adding into this and then this thing squeeze up through pre-market highs and I have to take a stop and end up red on the name. So I played it a little conservatively, just given coming in Friday, and I just wanted to end green. In hindsight, or if this was another day of the week and I was still fighting for my weekly P&L, I should have gotten really aggressive on this rejection back below VWAP here. You can see they brought it back below VWAP, started consolidating, tried to push it higher again, and got stuffed really hard on good volume. So this would have been a great candle to start a position or add to the position. And you can see we got great follow through all the way back to low a day and some after this big rejection here. So yeah, I could have played it probably on smaller size. I was just happy to be green, on the trade, and I just wanted to walk away and keep my profits and not deal with some kind of headache if this thing wanted to start, running like crazy. But it ended up fading nicely. Got a nice pop back up into VWAP here, a little bit above. That ultimately failed again. You could have shorted and had a nice run back into the close here. So yeah, just another day three gapper. Set up well for us and was able to make some good money. But I always like to go back and review the trade and see where I could have traded it a little bit better or added, or just see how the stock traded throughout the day to give you a better idea going into the future of how you could approach these different setups. So this was QCLS. I think yeah, this was my trade here. So I was trading in here in the consolidation, had orders out above, covered some into this leg, covered more into the open on the weakness, added here, and then I ended up stopping out because my cost basis came down a bunch, and I didn't want to have to fight this thing, if this really wanted to go. If the market, if small caps weren't doing some of the things they were doing this week with these huge runs, I probably would have just kept adding and then, use a pre-market stop as high, pre-market highs as my stop up here. But given how the week was trading out in small caps, I didn't want to get overly aggressive and then end up red on the name. So that's how I traded QCLS. Day three gapper, love this setup, love this trade, always looking for it, and it's a good one to get involved with, high probability trade. So yeah, if you guys have questions about this setup or how I traded it, feel free to hit me up in the comments below. All right, guys, hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and I will see you on Monday.